Guizhou's greatest appeal to me is the plurality of culture.
以高速公路、高速铁路为重要的载体的话，使得贵州能够融入到咱们整个经济体系当中去。
I think Guizhou opening this national park is one of the few ways that they can really protect some of those areas.
我觉得贵州省会因为 FARC 存在，变成一个国际天文的一个交流中心。
So now Guizhou is using this experience that was for poverty alleviation, for rural revitalization, to other industries.
It felt that Guizhou, much like Shenzhen, carried the sort of the model or the blueprint for the evolving China stage.
I think it's very enriching to experience Guizhou, and one should try to experience from as many angles as possible.
I think I distinctly remember the flight down to Guizhou, and you immediately, saw the low undulating hills, which are quite iconic. You've seen in Chinese paintings those hills, right? What you call the karst formations. So I think I didn't realize that they are from Guizhou. So that was the big surprise. And as I looked out from the window of the plane, I said, so this is where, they're in China, but because they're so distinct because of their representation in Chinese literature and paintings, that was, the first sort of thought, this is Guizhou. When we, developed this project with the local government, we just finished our iconic series on the vision of President Xi, China Time of Xi. And that was an intensive project, as you would imagine, right? But it did give us a very good sense of the policy shifts that were happening. You're moving from high speed to high quality growth. Things were moving from focus on environmental protectionism, on encouraging the China dream. A whole new development stage was arriving after, you might say, after a 40-year turn of pursuing a certain kind of policy. And then having sort of done the work on Time of Xi and understood the next stage of China's evolution and policy development, it felt that Guizhou, much like Shenzhen, carried the sort of the model or the blueprint for the evolving China stage, and moving on to the next level of development, which was much more quality of life centric rather than speed centric. So that's what makes, I think, Guizhou very distinct and very exciting and a place to follow. Many places have traditional cultures. In Guizhou's case, it's a little more of the ethnic minorities. But it's the place where the new experiments are being done for a new kind of development. So it is bellwether or a weather vane in terms of, where China is going. Low karst formations, which is a distinct part of the Guizhou image and geography. But that is exactly what the obstacle has been, geography. And what was striking is how amazing work had been done on the physical infrastructure and how it's been continually developed. One of the highlights has been, going to so many amazing structures, particularly bridges. When you have physical infrastructure work in terms of bridges and rail networks, and probably one of the most amazing road networks, which include tunnels which connect and rip through, these karst formations, what do is you compress time and space. And that's what Guizhou was able to do. It beat geography through infrastructure by compressing time and space. Once you compress time and space, that's opportunity. I just remember visiting both Dongju villages and Miaoju villages where local villagers had the investments to create what you call essentially holiday homes for travelers. And this is really targeting domestic tourism. I mean, China is such a huge market. Because the infrastructure had been built, and then you have the virtual infrastructure like Wi-Fi connections and ability to have the right kind of apps even if you're in the middle of nowhere. It's a great starting point for local people to start investing. It's not just holiday homes, it creates a new kind of exchange between two very different kinds of people in China. You know, when you talk about the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, when you talk of China dreams, you know, they could sound big slogans, but actually the fact that Guizhou has these kind of spaces for people to take breaks, and the fact that, you know, villagers have been encouraged, infrastructure is developed, virtual and physical, for people from other parts of China, particularly places where we come from, to be able to take their families and get much more of a bargain. Obviously it's a restful holiday in a beautiful location, but you're really discovering what is rejuvenation when you are, you know, with a Miaoju villager sharing a meal, and your children are experiencing things other than Starbucks, KFC, and McDonald's. So it's that kind of ability to interact, because you're creating that base, right, for people to move back and forth, genuinely creates a dialogue and allows, you know, two cultures, two distinct urban and, you know, countryside cultures to blend and genuinely, you know, learn and evolve from each other, particularly for the next generation. I think what was distinctive about the trip to Guizhou was when we genuinely ended up, it's probably the only province in China which I've managed to travel right across, top to bottom and left to right. I think I've been to many places, but not in this intensive way. And that's why it's still part of one's memory, part of oneself.